Okay, so I just decided to make pasta, and I will show you guys how to make pasta. So I'm going to use my pasta hook. Pasta. Tablespoon of olive oil. That's optional. I just like the flavor. Like half a teaspoon of salt. So it's turned into a ball. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I'm going to have to knead it by hand because there's just not enough dough for my mixer to... I didn't use my semolina flour either. I just used regular all-purpose flour because I figure most of you don't have semolina flour. And all-purpose works just fine. Gonna have to wash the side of that. So I've taken off my ring and I've put it on my elephant, okay? And I'm just going to knead this for a little while. Too much flour. So 1 egg, 1 cup of flour, a couple tablespoons of water depending on the humidity of your climate, and maybe a tablespoon of olive oil if you like the flavor, half a teaspoon salt, more if you like it saltier, but I like to put my salt in the water to boil. And this will take, I'm assuming you all know how to boil pasta. You let the water boil first and then you add the pasta. You don't add the pasta while the water is still heating up. But I add the salt to the water I'm boiling the pasta. And the pasta, because it's fresh pasta, will only take, like, depending on the thickness, if you're making fettuccine or spaghetti noodles, it'll only take 4 or 5 minutes. And you don't even need the Bath and Body Works, no, Bed Bath & Beyond, I always get those confused. You don't need the Bed Bath & Beyond or the KitchenAid pasta cutter, pasta maker. I use it because I have it and I love it. But you can actually just knead the dough yourself, like put the flour in on the counter, drop the egg in the middle of the well you made, and then knead it. You don't even need a mixer. Even to roll it out, you just roll it really thin. I mean, it is going to be a little bit more difficult to get it thin because you're using a rolling pin. But if you just roll it out and then cut it with a knife or a pasta cutter, you don't need a pasta maker at all. It's just dough. You can have it try to make the strands the same width, of course, so that it cooks evenly, but you don't really need all of this equipment. Can you dig it? And fresh pasta is extremely easy to make. It's just flour and egg, essentially. Some people use it without egg. I'll do one of those recipes later, but it's very difficult to over-knead the dough. This dough is like foolproof, it seems like, so it's really easy to work with. And after you've kneaded the dough for quite some time, all you're going to do is, after you've kneaded the ball of dough, you're going to have to cover it with some plastic wrap or in an airproof container. Plastic wrap's just easy because it will dry out, and you do need to let the dough rest for some scientific reason. What? So that the gluten rests or the gluten builds up or something happens with the gluten when you let the dough rest. And it's a must. After you knead it, you have to let the dough rest, I don't know, 10-20 minutes, but you have to seal it because if you don't, the air, even if there's not a cross breeze in your house, you'll feel like a crusty outside edge of your dough ball. So please cover that, right? And we'll be back. So with pasta makers, on the rolling attachment there is a dial, and on the manual ones and the automatic ones. Generally 0 is the fattest, and then as you raise the numbers it gets thinner and thinner. You want to start on the lowest number, which is 0. Because if you try to start immediately with a 7, your dough is going to tear. So you just pull it out and you adjust. Oh, mine starts at 1. Okay, now, a lot of people are afraid of the color of their food. In America, we dye everything. People are afraid of eggs if the shell isn't white, when typically that's not really what they look like. This dough comes out looking white. When you boil it, the pasta is white. If you have some kind of adverse, you can use yellow food dye, and a little bit of yellow food dye will make your noodles yellow. But to me, I don't really care to use artificial coloring, etc. But please note that your natural pasta will look quite a bit whiter than your store-bought dry pasta. But that doesn't bother me. So, to turn this on, you just if you notice, I didn't tighten it well enough. If you notice, that your pasta is sticking to the rollers, just sprinkle some flour on the dough or sprinkle it on the rollers itself. Now you can fold the dough in, put it through so that it's a more even shape. Like I've got a long strand, so I can just fold it like a shirt, put it through again. And I send it through quite a few times on each level, and then I crank it to 2. Some more flour on there because I was getting sticky. Now I've got my cutter on, and it's going to just slice my dough. Voila! And then I usually lay it in a bird's nest type situation on the counter. Sprinkle some flour on it so that it doesn't stick to itself. And I usually, for a man that eats a lot of pasta, this 1 cup of flour, 1 egg type dough usually gives me 2 servings of pasta for him. He eats a lot of pasta, so. So I usually break up this amount of dough into 4 different. Oh, that's what my problem is. I'm making pasta for them. Can you say hi? Why are you so stank?
Camera suspect.
Yes, that is bacon pasta. And I am going to sugar. I've had this tripod. What's a tripod? I've had a strap. Oh my gosh. Lango. I'm gonna put it in the sink. You guys are in the sink now. Will that do? No. You're crooked. That's as good as it's gonna get.